right, let's talk about rewards. So the sermon today is defining first of all, let's define the word reward. It's like a recognition for us, for our service or our efforts, or maybe an achievement. And this reward is given to you. Maybe your just desserts, or it could be a negative reward, right? If you, what's the reward for breaking a commandment, for committing a sin? Let's use the word murder. What's the reward for committing murder in this world? Your reward can be, 25 to life in prison. So sometimes the reward is not always what you think it is. So Jesus came into this world because people wasn't listening. God came into the flesh and set a path for us. He left us some scriptures. He left us parables so we can think for ourselves and understand that God is a compassionate God, not the God that people make him out to be, a destructive God. Someone who says, don't kill, and then tells people to kill. No, this is not God. In fact, what does Jesus call those that say they do everything in love and mercy, and yet when he's not looking, they turn a blind eye to the suffering? Jesus calls these broods of vipers, hypocrites, in fact. So what is a hypocrite? A hypocrite is someone who says, I'm all for this, and then when no one's looking, they're doing the exact opposite. So one of them is a lie and makes this person false. Can we be manipulated to not know we're doing one of these things wrong? I think we can. But there does come a time in our life where we come to a crossroads and we have to make that ethical choice and think, hey, wait a minute. I'm not a hypocrite. Let's address this one, align our morals with our actions. And when we stand before God, we can receive that reward in full, the reward that you think you're going to receive. This is the one you should receive from God. So together, let's look through the scriptures and see how receiving rewards aligns with following Christ and being vegan. So let's start off with Proverbs 24:12, and I'll put the words on the screen for you. If you say, surely we did not know this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who keeps watch over your soul know it? And will he not repay man according to his works? This is exactly what we just said. So the first part there, surely we did not know this. So if we didn't know something, does that make a difference to the kind of reward you get? I think it does. But then it goes on to say, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? So God knows whether you knew or not, right? Does not he who keeps watch over your soul know it? So God knows everything. He can see right through us. He can see everything we hide, and it all comes to light before God. Now I want to give a quick example here of a few things we can say before God. I didn't know. And we probably say them sometimes in this world. For example, you get pulled over in your car and the police officer comes over. You think, what did I do wrong? I didn't do nothing wrong. And he might say to you, your car tag's expired. Oh, sorry, I didn't know. Now, does this affect the reward you're going to get? Think about that. What about if you're going the wrong right of way and you caused an accident? Does this affect your reward? Well, your car's already damaged. Someone's hurt. What about copyright reasons? You say, well, I didn't know. What about killing animals? Wait a minute. Let's go back to that one. Killing animals. You might say, well, it says in the Bible I can kill them. It says I don't have to show them mercy. I can kill them and eat them. Didn't Jesus eat a fish in front of everyone? Let's go back to that verse. Surely we did not know this. What if God stood before you and says, no, I left you Genesis 1:29. I left you multiple scriptures in the Bible telling you I desire mercy and not sacrifice. And yet you decided to show animals no mercy and kill them. And you could say, well, I didn't know. I was manipulated. Would this be our excuse on the time when we're stood there ready to receive a reward? Are we going to argue and say, I didn't know, and that's why I showed no mercy? So what about today? Do you think, let's pull up Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. Then God said, I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth and every tree that has fruit and seed in it. This will be yours for food. Is there a reward from eating from that garden? I don't think there is, but something that there is, we don't have to show any violence when we eat from a garden. We don't have to hurt another sentient being. We don't have to cause false imprisonment, forcibly impregnating, murder. We don't have animals begging for their life, asking you for mercy. So, is there a reward? Does it affect or change your reward when we eat from the Garden of Eden? These are things for you to ponder about, think about. Can we really say to God, I didn't know? Let's look at Proverbs chapter 11, verse 18. The wicked earn deceptive wages, but the one who sows righteous reaps a sure reward. So, if I say, well, I don't know, the animals suffer, but it's written in a book, Jesus ate a fish, right? I don't have to show them mercy. I'll turn a blind eye. I don't want to see them killed neither. It's horrible. The screams, the blood everywhere, the begging for the mercy. I'll just eat them because I like the taste. So, does that? Can you look into the future now and see yourself stood before God and God says, why didn't you show them mercy and eat from the Garden of Eden like I asked you? And you can say, I liked the taste too much, that's why I showed no mercy. And it's in a book, Jesus ate a fish. Are you going to say, I didn't know I had to show them mercy? You think this is going to affect your sure reward? What if you did this? What if you just ate from the Garden of Eden and showed everyone mercy? Didn't contribute towards the suffering of animals. What do you think your reward would look like then? When God stands before you and goes, good obedient servant, you ate from the Garden of Eden. You showed mercy to the least of my brothers, your brothers. You might think, well, they're not brothers, they're animals. Well, in fact, we're all related, we're all God's creation, and we're meant to be stewards taking care of them, right? What about Genesis 1:29? Can we say, well, I didn't really understand it. I was conditioned as a child. I was manipulated as a child, programmed. They told me that God said we can eat them. They told me everyone else is killing them. However, who is the person responsible for showing either mercy or no mercy to these animals? Look into the future at your reward. Let's look at Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 10. I, the Lord, search the heart and examine the mind, to reward each person according to their conduct, according to what their deeds deserve. So God searches your heart and your mind. So the Bible does talk about the heart quite a lot, and we all understand that God doesn't want us to defile that heart, and it's what comes out of the heart that defiles us, not what we eat. So I can walk into a room, eat whatever goes in and comes out. I haven't really, there's no thought process in there. But if I go into a room knowing that animals suffer and die and I show no mercy because I like the taste too much, I've defiled my own heart. And even in the book of Daniel, Daniel says, hey, no, I don't want to defile my heart. Give me nothing but vegetables. Now, some argue the book of Daniel clearly states there in chapter 1, verse 14, chapter 1, verses 1 through 14, it clearly states in there that he's talking about unclean animals and clean animals. Well, that's not true. It doesn't say that in there. It just talks about, don't give me meat because I don't want to defile my heart. Don't believe other people adding things to these. So let's look at Matthew chapter 5, verse 7. It says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy." So if we show mercy, what will be the reward? Good instincts right there. That's right. God will be showing you mercy too. That will be your reward. What if we show no mercy to God's animals and just believe the lies, manipulation, and conditioning of this world? What will God show us then if we show no mercy? What will be your reward? It's great. I don't have to answer some of these. I think you can guess them, right? Let's look at Psalm chapter 62, verse 12. "And that with you, Lord, is unfailing love, and your reward, everyone according to what they have done." So, have you been doing the will of God or being tempted to do other things? Can the world tell you, don't show the animals mercy? We look after them before we send them into slaughter, before we hold a knife to their throat while they're screaming. We look after them. It's not true. They beg for mercy. They scream out and cry for help. You know, God made a covenant for the animals, and he wants to use you to help fulfill that covenant, that promise he made. We're going to read that shortly. So, Psalm 62:12, "And that with you, Lord, is unfailing love, and you reward everyone according to what they have done." Acts of non-mercy, acts of non-love, taste and pleasure of a life. What will be your reward? Let's look at Hosea chapter 2, verse 18. This is God's promise. "In that day I will make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, the birds in the sky, and the creatures that move along the ground. Bow and sword and battle I will abolish from the land, so that many may lay down in safety." So this is that promise that God made with the animals. The beasts of the field is the animals, all the animals, and the birds in the sky. Makes a promise to them that I'm going to lead you all to safety. And where is that safety? The Garden of Eden. Before violence came into the world, animals couldn't die. In the book of Revelation, on God's holy mountain, this is where the Garden of Eden will be restored, and these animals will lay down in safety again. And he wants to use you and me to lead them there. So are we doing that right now? Are we contributing towards the suffering of animals? Or say no and eat from the Garden of Eden? Are we being vegan or not? Look at your reward in the future. What do you think the reward is for eating from the Garden of Eden, being obedient to God's scriptures, not causing suffering, showing love and mercy, speaking up for the oppressed, bringing them drinks of water, clothing them while they're in prison? What do you think the rewards are? What if we turn a blind eye to that suffering they're going through? Ignore the screams for mercy. Don't give them clothing. Don't give them water while they're in prison, or feed them when they're hungry. Show acts of non-mercy, acts of non-love. What do you think the reward will be? What if we don't speak up for the oppressed and help lead these animals to the holy mountain? What if we don't abolish the bow and the sword? We don't speak up and stay in our house, keep our light under the bed, too afraid to speak up? What will be our reward? Okay, let's look at Romans chapter 2, verse 6. "He will repay each person according to what they have done." Are we seeking justice? Are we walking humbly with our God, showing love and mercy? Ask yourself this question. When given a knife and an animal stands before this person, screaming, crying, begging for mercy, what would Jesus do? You think he would put the knife down and say, "Go, be with your family, be free, enjoy the life that God gave you"? After all, isn't Jesus God? Okay, let's look at Matthew chapter 16, verse 27. For the Son of Man is going to come in his Father's glory with his angels, and then he will reward each person according to what they have done. So, mercy. No mercy. Are we showing acts of non-mercy when we turn a blind eye to the suffering animals go through? You have to ask yourself this question. Genesis chapter 1 verse 26. And God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish in the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth along the earth. So God gave you dominion. He actually put you in charge. He made you a ruler of this world, to take care and to tend God's creation, including all the people around you, all the animals, and the earth itself. He wants us to be merciful, loving rulers, just like Jesus came to show us the way. If we're not being good stewards of God's creation, what will be our reward? Let's look at 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body, whether good or evil. So, is it possible that we've been deceived, so our reward is taken away from us? I mean, what kind of reward are you expecting anyway? Living a loving life, compassionate life, a caring life. Maybe you're not perfect, like me, but you try, and God sees that heart inside you. He waters you, molds you, puts you in situations where you can thrive and be you. He gives you a gift set, and he wants you to use that daily. You might not be very good at speaking up for the oppressed in front of people, but you have other skill sets like sharing on social media, drawing on floors, mailing stuff, behind the scenes, auditing, editing. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each one may receive what is due for what he has done in the body. So what can we do in this body to defile ourselves? What about tattoos? Who am I really hurting with this tattoo? Well, I actually got some tattoos. I got the word vegan here, vegan warrior, and this one here means ahimsa. This means to not cause violence to all man and animals, to live a life of violence free. Now, I got these as a kind of sacrifice my body to get these. They're for my activism, so people read them and I can talk about veganism, about being kind and compassionate and not causing violence to others. It's a small sacrifice to my body. You think God looks at this as I defiled myself? Or whether I sacrificed myself? What about the food we put inside our body? The suffering, tortured animals that begged for mercy. What does God see when we put those in our body? Are you even thinking about a reward right now, or your stomach? Or is that too bold? Do you think we can be deceived in this world to break all the commandments and not even know it? Let's look at Matthew chapter 9 verse 13. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. So this is God saying, it's a sin to sacrifice animals today for our taste and pleasure, just as it was then. Back in the day, they sacrificed animals' life, ate them with the priest, and the rest that was left, they burnt before God to forget forgiveness for sin. God wanted us to go away and learn that he desired acts of mercy. So, think about this. You think there's a reward for shedding innocent blood, turning a blind eye to their suffering, showing acts of non-mercy while you devour them? Do you think a reward would be? Let's look at Matthew chapter 12, verse 7. If you had known what these words mean, I desire mercy, not sacrifice, you would have not condemned the innocent. Who are the innocent? Not man. I don't think there's one of us worthy to stand before Christ and say, I'm just as equal as him. We're like filthy rags, in fact. All have sinned. So who are the innocent? I will leave you to think about that. Okay, let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 12 through 15. If anyone builds on a fountain using gold, silver, costly stones, wood, hay or straw, their work will be shown for what it is, because the day will bring it to light. It will be revealed with fire, and the fire will test the quality of each person's work. If what has been built survives, the builder will receive a reward. If it is burned up, the builder will suffer loss, but yet will be saved, even though only one escaping through the flames. Wow. So, if we stand before God and say, I showed acts of mercy to everyone. I was kind. I never turned away from suffering. I never had a blind eye to the suffering. I put life before taste and pleasure. You think God's going to see through this masquerade? Because if you're not vegan, if you're not showing acts of mercy and eating from the Garden of Eden, you've been disobedient to what God is asking from you. This is the importance of aligning our morals with our actions. I will share a secret with you. To be 10 times more knowledgeable of what I'm saying, to understand in depth of what I'm saying today, you must be like a little child. Now, I'm not saying gullible. I'm talking about innocent, uncorrupt, able to hear deep with that heart and tap into empathy. This is what God's talking about. We must be like little children, willing to show mercy and love to anyone that asks. And if you don't understand that, if we're constantly showing acts of non-mercy to the animals before God, these seeds within us will grow like branches all through us in our spiritual realm here. And what will God do with those bad branches? He'll cut them off. Let's look at Matthew chapter 23, verse 23. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites! You give a tenth of your spices, mint, dill, and cumin, but you have neglected the more important matters of law: justice, mercy, and faithfulness. You should practice the latter without neglecting the former. So, the churches of this world, are we walking humbly with our God, walking in love, showing acts of mercy to all God's creation, eating from the Garden of Eden? Or have we been somewhat manipulated slightly to put taste and pleasure above all this? Wow. Did God say? Let me tell you what God never said. He never said you can forcibly impregnate animals, put them in prisons, execute them. When they beg for mercy, ignore them, chop them to pieces, shed their innocent blood, and then devour them? Does that sound like Genesis 1:29? Don't listen to this world. Like a good shepherd, A good shepherd takes care of his flock. Like a good steward, he takes care of the animals. Revelation 22 verse 12. Look, I am coming soon. My reward is with me, and I will give each person according to what they have done. So, are you ready for your reward? Are you going to continue to show acts of non-mercy to God's creation and say, I didn't know? Remember, he sees right through you. Revelation 21 verse 4. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for the older things are passed away. For me, this is my reward. To be with all God's creation on his holy mountain, to be in the presence of God. No one has to suffer for me no more. Harmony, right? I'm happy with just that reward. What about you? You think you'll be allowed in this place where no one suffers, no one harms? I pray that everyone understands Hosea chapter 2 verse 18, that we need to lead the animals to safety, abolish the bow and the sword. Let's look at Isaiah chapter 59 verse 3. For your hands are stained with blood, your fingers with guilt, your lips have spoken lies, and your tongue mutters wicked things. So God never, and he's mentioned this millions of times, he desired mercy, and if we would have known that, we wouldn't have condemned the innocent, the shedding of innocent blood. Those blood on our hands prevent God from even listening to your prayers. Isaiah chapter 1 verse 15. When you spread out your hands in prayer, I hide my eyes from you. Even when you offer many prayers, I'm not listening. Your hands are full of blood. So, do you think we can manipulate it not to show mercy to God's animals and separate it from God with the blood on our hands? Psalm 18 verse 20. The Lord rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanness of my hands. He recompensated me. How do we clean our blood off our hands if we've been showing acts of non-mercy to God's animals? Genesis 1:29. Read that one. Genesis chapter 1 verse 29. This is how you clean your hands. And don't just think about what am I going to eat. Think about not causing acts of non-mercy. Matthew chapter 15 verses 1 through 9. You hypocrites, Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules. Are we just following human rules? Oh, Jesus ate a fish. Could this be a mistranslation or a lie? To manipulate you to show no mercy. Remember, who's coming to steal your reward? Let's look at Colossians chapter 3 verses 23 and 24. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance for the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving. Jesus wants you to show acts of mercy. Remember that. Don't let no one deceive you. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 6. And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists, and the rewards for those who earnestly seek him. I'll share my reward. I'll share my faith with you. Yes, I believe there's a God. I believe that manipulation exists in this world to separate us from God, to make you lose your reward, to harden your heart, put us on a path of violence. We've been deceived to believe God said we can pick up knives and imprison animals and kill them rather than show them love. Doesn't sound like God to me. James chapter 2 verse 13. Because judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful. Mercy triumphs over judgment. So this is God actually telling us what your reward will be. So when you're stuck before God saying, I didn't know, I had to show the animals mercy, everyone else was killing them, I enjoyed the taste, that's why I showed no mercy. It says right there, your reward will be no mercy. That gives you an idea of what that punishment will be, right? So what can you do today? Show mercy. Proverbs 21 verse 13. Whoever shuts his ear to the cry of the poor, he himself will be answered. Are you turning a blind eye to the suffering animals are going through? Did you watch the documentary Dominion? Here's a link. Watch Dominion.com, it's free to watch. Don't turn away from their cries for help. Proverbs 28 verse 27. Whoever gives to the poor will not want, but he who hides his eyes will get many a curse. Hiding the eyes? If we turn a blind eye to the suffering these animals go through, there's your reward. Jeremiah chapter 13 verse 14. I will dash them once against each other, parents and children alike, declares the Lord. I will show no pity and have no mercy. Wow. So it's clear the difference between showing mercy and no mercy. Let me tell you some of the side effects. So, if I show acts of mercy towards God's creation, here's some of the rewards that I can tell you right now. God will hear your prayers because he sees you remove the blood from your hands. He sees that you've undefiled that heart and will flood you with the Holy Spirit and make you 10 times more knowledgeable of God and his scriptures. He will guide you daily using the Holy Spirit and the Word to guide you. You'll be actually putting the right kind of fuel in your body you were designed for from the Garden of Eden and not harming your body. He'll prepare a room for you and a place for you, designated for you on God's holy mountain. He'll be prepared to spend time with you. What if we show acts of non-mercy? What do you think our rewards will be then? The blood on the hands. God won't hear your prayers, no matter how many times you pray. You'll have no knowledge of his word. You won't know him. The Holy Spirit won't be able to guide you to make the right decisions. You won't be eating the right food and putting stuff in you that's bad for your temple, bad for your body, bad for your heart. And the worst of all, there'll be no place, there'll be no room for you on God's holy mountain. He won't be waiting for you. Separated from God eternally? That's not a good reward. Let's look at James chapter 2 verse 13. For judgment is without mercy to the one who has shown no mercy. Proverbs 21:13. Whoever shuts his ear to the cry of the poor himself will also cry out, and it will not be answered. Matthew chapter 25 verses 41 to 45. Then he will say to those on his left, Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me nothing to drink. I was stranger and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes and you did not clothe me. I was sick in prison and you did not look after me. Many will answer that. They'll say, Lord, when did I see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger needing clothes or sick in prison and did not help you? Are you turning a blind eye to the suffering animals go through, or a deaf ear? You don't hear them screaming, begging for mercy in these so-called farms, these prisons where they don't want to be, executed, begging for mercy? Are you ignoring this? WatchDominion.com. It's free. God will respond. He'll reply and say, "Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for the least of these, you did not do for me." We're good stewards, and we're meant to be showing mercy, not acts of non-mercy. Our Father in heaven, thank you for this time of fellowship as we read your scriptures. Help us, in fact, focus on our hearts today as we go out into the world. Help us show mercy. Help us become more knowledgeable of the truth and become closer to you, and not be blinded and manipulated by this world no more. We ask these things in your Son's name. Amen. God bless every one of you.